Today's segment is on congressional silence and the erosion of law. And what I'll do is try to give you some examples that show how the indecision and the decisions that are made by federal agencies erode the rule of law. A few days ago, I received a message from a congressional office telling me they were closing my file. They thanked me for bringing the matter to their attention, but said they didn't have the capacity to investigate it. And that response, or lack of response, is exactly the problem I'm talking about today. For the past 3 months, I've been submitting documented evidence to congressional leadership, not opinions, not speculation, evidence. And not one office has acknowledged it. Not one has asked a question. Not one has shown the slightest interest in what the documents reveal. What those documents show is simple. In 1979, Judge Jack Weinstein issued a preservation order requiring federal agencies to maintain and report anything related to Agent Orange exposure. 2 years later, at Ben Hoi Air Base in South Vietnam, a plane jettisoned 500 gallons of Agent Orange directly over a U.S. military installation. Everyone on that base was exposed. The Department of Justice was advised to notify the court, but the court was never told. That failure, that choice, was the moment the rule of law began to drift, because when the Department of Justice ignores a federal judge's order, every agency watching learns the same lesson. The rules are optional. Preservation becomes optional. Transparency becomes optional. Accountability becomes optional. And today, we see the consequences. Agencies miss deadlines. They deny records that they were required to preserve. They contradict themselves. They treat legal obligations as suggestions. And Congress, the branch responsible for oversight, looks the other way. This isn't just my experience. The World Justice Project's Rule of Law Index shows the United States has fallen 2.2% over the last 5 years. That's not politics. That's measurement. That's data. And it reflects exactly what I've seen firsthand, a system that no longer feels bound by the very rules it was created to uphold. So when a congressional office tells me they can't investigate and suggests I submit the same evidence anonymously as a whistleblower, I have to be honest. If Congress won't act on evidence from a named citizen, they're not going to act on evidence anonymously submitted either. And that's the point. The rule of law is degrading because the institutions responsible for protecting it have stopped taking the responsibility seriously. And those are my thoughts for today. What should you take away from this segment? We all have a responsibility to know what the rule of law is and how it's being degraded by the very people who are supposed to protect it. Thank you for spending this moment with me and being here to listen. I really appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one.